We did not intend to become a medically fragile family.
Do you know how it happened? We said yes to a happy, healthy little baby girl for a weekend.
Welcome to Dream Small, where we believe God does big things through the small and everyday faithfulness of His people. I'm Jason.
And I'm Whitney. We're a family of 8 who's fostered, adopted, and stumbled our way through learning that small, everyday choices can change lives.
In a world that tells you to chase big, we dare you to dream small.
Because you know what? It's not about chasing fame. It's about choosing faithfulness. Hey, you guys, we're back for another episode of the Dream Small podcast.
What are you grateful for today?
Oh, my word. Just jumping on in. I was going to jump on into the podcast.
Yeah, what are you grateful for today?
I nearly got a full night's sleep last night.
Yeah, you did.
I mean, there were some storms, but there was no children that woke me up until 4 a.m. So I'm going to be grateful for that today.
It's a good one to be grateful for.
I know, right?
I think I would align with that. The baby is starting to sleep better. Starting to get.
Be careful.
I have hopes and dreams of maybe being able to get back to the gym and maybe get up and start reading again consistently in the morning.
I was talking to a sweet friend at church yesterday, and I was like, one of these days, one of these seasons, we'll be able to sleep through the night again. And she was like, that's sweet, Whitney. She goes, I know you haven't slept through the night in 12 years. She was like, remember when she told me.
Which friend? Who is this?
Elizabeth.
Okay.
I was in her Bible study when we took in Leah and said yes to Leah. And she was like, Whitney, you need a break from babies. Because we still had a 3-month-old at that point.
Yeah.
She was like, you need a break from infants. And here we are.
Here we are.
That was 7 years ago that she told me that.
And we found our fostering niche.
Yeah.
It's the babies.
It works for all the other kids. So.
What else do we do? I need to be grateful for other stuff.
Yeah, don't copy mine.
No. I'm really grateful for the opportunity to be coaching middle school softball.
I could tell it really filled your cup.
Yeah, it was fun. I stumbled into being a middle school softball coach this spring.
Because they wouldn't have had a team otherwise.
Exactly right. So we were headed down to Southern Indiana to watch our high school girls team play in a semi-state game. And while we're down there, my 12-year-old goes, hey, Dad.
Basketball team.
What did I say?
High school girls.
Yeah, basketball team. They were playing in semi-state. And my 12-year-old goes, hey, Dad. Mr. Branch, the principal, asked if you'd be willing to coach softball. I was like, what? I was like, yeah, sure. And so I emailed him the next day or the next week and said, hey, what's it look like? What's it coming? He goes, well, there's 4 girls signed up right now, so we don't even have a softball team. He goes, but I think there's enough girls who would want to play if we had a coach, but I don't want to encourage girls to play. I was like, if the difference between the girls having a season and not having a season as a coach, I'm willing to coach. So fast forward to now. Got enough girls, and we have like 12 or 13 signed up. It was so much fun, the first practice. I thought for sure they would, because we have a couple girls that have never played, and I didn't know what to expect from the rest of them, but pretty good.
It's going to be really fun when I have my surgery, and I can't do anything for anyone, and you have 6 children and a team of softball girls.
And a job.
And a job.
And a job. Let's not forget
Then you're going to think it's really fun.
It's such a life.
You got to help your wife go to the bathroom. They'll be super fun.
Oh, I'm going to get the hose inside just
for love,
clarity.
Jason.
All right. Moving on to
today's topic.
So this is meant to be kind of a serious topic, but also from a fun angle. Just
lighthearted, just guess what you may have never considered.
Because we
open your eyes, like even if you're not fostering, it just might open your eyes to this area of fostering.
We stumbled into this.
We literally stumbled in, and now we're flagged as that family.
Our now 7-year-old daughter came to us as a 3-month-old baby that just needed a couple weekends of TLC, and she'd be on her merry little way. And then come to find out.
Well, hold on. Favorite part. Happy, healthy little girl who needs a weekend of TLC.
Did they say happy, healthy?
Yes.
Oh,
a healthy
that
little
was a lie.
Girl. Well, they didn't know.
She was not happy
no one knew.
Nor healthy.
No, she was not.
Grumpy, sickly little girl should have been how it described. But yeah, happy, healthy was not how Leah was when she came to us.
But that was the moment we got the call. And it goes back to one of those things like what you're told versus reality, right? And you're like, your head's spinning.
So we get this little baby in. She's clearly something's wrong. Fast forward, and that we will share her journey a little bit. And we became a foster family that handles medically fragile kids.
Yeah. All of a sudden, we became a medically fragile foster family for quite a few years.
Yeah.
Which opened our eyes to a lot. And when we were talking about some of our experiences, we were like, yeah, this might make a good podcast episode just to kind of.
Well, that one girl, I feel like we should start paying her for podcast ideas. Reach out
Sarah,
to you.
yeah.
I mean, God bless her, man. I'm so glad she's reaching out.
I am so glad too.
Like,
yeah. Her
that's
and her
what-
husband found us through Spotify, I believe.
That's why we started this, is to be a support for these.
And they're from a different state,
Texas.
far away. I know. I wasn't going to be specific.
Why?
Because there
Texas.
could be creepy people listening to our podcast.
And she reached out to Whitney and asked about
For the sake of anonymity,
anonymity.
say that word.
Anemone. Going to Nemo.
Anemone.
Yeah. She reached out to Whit asking about swallow study, and I remember those moments. She was like, I remember walking through like, what's this? What's it mean? And being like, and now we're like,
it took me back there.
and now we're like, oh, you're fine. But that's why we exist, is to help people get to that point.
Yeah.
And so anyway, this episode, we're going to be talking about like what it means to be medical fragile, some of the things we've experienced, some of the fun sides, not fun as in hee but like lighthearted. So here we go.
Basically, again, and I feel like this is kind of one of those themes outside of needing community. This is another theme that you can't be fully prepared for the world of foster care, and that's okay. You have to be flexible.
You will never be.
You have
fully
to roll
prepared.
with it.
No.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just like becoming a biological parent. Like people wait till they're ready.
So true.
If you wait
Yeah.
till you're ready, you'll never have kids.
Right? Because guess what? Spoiler alert: nobody knows what they're doing.
That's the biggest thing I think I realized once we all became parents. Like,
Oh my gosh!
nobody
Right?
knows what they're doing. We're just all winging it and hoping for the
Just
best.
all trying our best. Like we don't really know.
We're
Like
just trusting God.
I was talking to a friend to Kristen the other day when I took Lainey over to her house to play with her daughter. And I was like, yeah, I've literally had to tell Lainey, like, I mess up a lot with you, but it's because I'm learning how to parent with you. Like, you're the first one.
You're the guinea pig.
Like, I don't actually know what I'm doing.
Yeah, we're all just winging it.
So, yeah.
Hey, quick pause before we keep going. If you've been enjoying Dream Small, would you mind following the podcast and leaving a rating or review? That small step really helps people find the show. And if an episode makes you think of someone, sharing it with them means more than you know. Medically fragile, if you're in the world of foster care, you've probably heard that term, that phrase. Maybe you've lived it. We have some people connected to us that still handle medically fragile kids. So what are some things that would fall into the bucket of so we're going to kind of give you guys what it means. We're going to share some of our experiences because we've had some experiences. So medically fragile, go.
So medically fragile can be as, quote unquote, simple as developmental delays.
Yep.
And it can be neurological conditions. It can be seizure
Little Caesars
disorders.
Yeah.
It can be physical limitations, children in wheelchairs, children with broken bones, like temporary conditions, recovering from surgery. Premature babies can be considered medically fragile because you're supposed to say born exposed, not drug addicted.
I know I don't know if you've met me. What you're supposed to say is not really a thing I'm very good at.
That's why I'm helping you.
Yeah.
Feeding tubes, needing oxygen, lots of heavy medication, rare blood disorders. It can be
all
lot.
sorts of stuff.
Yeah.
And there's a laundry list more.
And when you're
this
talking
is our experience.
Child abuse, you might have a friend of ours had a child come to her. I think she was like 5 months old, and she came to her in a full body cast because of broken bones. There's a whole array.
Medically fragile is a very, very large umbrella.
Yes. And some of those needs are temporary and some are lifelong. So that's just one of the things to know right off the bat. Like, they're not all lifelong. We had one placement who was shaken as a baby. And unfortunately, his medical conditions will be lifelong.
Yeah.
And that is horrible to see. I've seen videos of him prior to his injuries, and he was a typically developing baby.
Oh, I've never seen those.
Oh, really? Mm-hmm. And I have a relationship with his mom, and she showed me videos, and he was a typically developing baby. And then he incurred these injuries, and he's not anymore.
No.
When he was with us, he was just a he was essentially like a very, 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 very large infant. Like
Yeah.
he was almost 2, but
And a big 2.
big 1 month old though.
Yeah.
In terms of skill level.
Yeah. Oh, that hurts my heart.
So
Oh,
all that
buddy.
to say, some needs are temporary and some are lifelong. And it varies so much, and it's all case specific.
Yeah. Let's go down, not the biggest misconception, slide down to how placements can change overnight, because I think that makes more sense to do next.
Yeah.
We shared in the opening, we did not intend to become a medically fragile
No.
family.
Do you know how it happened? We said yes to a happy, healthy little baby girl for a weekend.
So, I mean, her story is quite remarkable.
And I shared on our last podcast episode that, her mom thought, she accused me of Munchausen by proxy because her mom thought she was perfectly
And
healthy
I don't
too.
know, for all you non-medically people, that basically means people who make up medical
For
stuff.
attention.
For attention. So Leah came to us, and very quickly Whitney recognized, okay, something's not right with her taking her bottle. Something's not right. Just so happened earlier that week, prior to Leah coming to us, you had connected with a lactation consultant?
No,
a nurse?
she's another foster mama who was a NICU nurse.
Yeah, who I specifically remember you guys talked about like bottle feeding or something anyway.
At a foster mom group.
Yeah, and where you very quickly, once you recognized
like,
Leah,
I need to call her.
I need to call her. You
Yeah.
went over there and she's like, you need to go to Riley right now.
Like, no, that not quite.
Oh,
nice,
I thought
nice recall, but no.
gonna
So I
punch you in the
reached out
face.
to her and I was like, we have this new placement. Something's wrong with her taking a bottle. She said, send me a video. So I sent her a video. She said, can you bring her over to my house Sunday afternoon? Because this was probably on a Saturday.
Mm-hmm.
She came to us on a Friday. This was a Saturday. Can you bring her over to my house Sunday afternoon? I said, yeah. So she fed her to kind of test things out. And she said, I think she's going to need a feeding tube. She said, call your pediatrician tomorrow morning and tell her like this exact thing. And I wrote down in my notes app, like the medical lingo to tell her, because I didn't know.
Right.
And then I took her in that day. Pediatrician scheduled a swallow study. At the swallow study, they did it. She failed immediately. They looked at me and they said,
Oh, okay.
go home and pack a bag and take her to the children's hospital. She's going to need a feeding tube. So that's how it happened.
Yeah.
It progressed quickly, but not that quickly.
In my mind, back it was like instant.
Yeah.
But yeah. So, I mean, just like that, we were a medically fragile family.
Yeah. But you know what? It wasn't that scary. Like they trained us. She was in the hospital.
No,
it was scary.
It was scary.
I mean, but they trained us in the hospital. She was not discharged from the hospital until both Jason and I were able to perform placing this NG tube.
An NG
multiple
tube, so an
times.
NG tube is a tube that goes up through your nasal passages, through your nose, down through your throat, into your tummy, right?
It bypasses you swallowing.
Yeah. So it's a tiny little tube.
So you feed them formula through the tube in their nose.
But when they're like, hey, you need to come learn how to stick this tube up down this baby's
Yeah, that's
nose. And I was like, what? What do you need me to do?
And then that poor baby having to suffer through us practicing and trying.
And then like she coughed. Well, I remember one time like she like cleared her throat and
And it all came out.
It came out of her mouth. I'm like, this is what are we doing?
I remember when we got home and we had to change. I think we had to change it weekly unless it came out. And you like tape it to their face and stuff. But sometimes it would just come out.
Well,
on
and
its own.
3-month-old kids are
Yanking at
pounding
it.
out their nose.
It's not comfortable, right? So if she can figure out how to get it out, and then her poor skin on her face was all irritated.
Raw, yeah.
What was I going to say? Oh, I remember the first time we came home and had to change it. And we were both like, huh! Like we pulled up YouTube videos, like we had no idea what we were doing.
Even though
although
we
were
had been
just
trained. Yeah, I remember that. Yep.
Terrifying.
So we didn't sign up for that, right?
No, we did not
We
sign
did
up
not
for
sign
that.
up, but hey, we wandered into being a medically
But we
fragile.
were committed at that point.
Yeah,
we were like,
we
well,
were-
we're not going to say we can't take her because of this, right? Like we already said yes.
So that's just one example of how you might all of a sudden the placement might become medically
Yeah.
fragile. There's all kinds of other stuff, you know.
But I will tell you, if you become trained and comfortable with feeding tubes
you're going to get those kids.
and the placement line finds out about that, don't expect to get any other calls.
It's true. It's very, very true. But, other examples of how a placement go can come from being quote unquote normal to medically fragile is, behavior trauma examples, ADHD, neurodevelopmental stuff, All kinds of different things can all of a sudden happen, right? So just to warn you, prepare you, like saying yes to a quote unquote normal kid might quickly turn into something different. And you know what? That's okay.
Well, and
God's got you.
our little guy, Brayden, that we adopted.
Yeah.
He had first steps.
Another good one, yeah.
We brought him at home from the NICU. He had first steps. He was born
Explain
exposed.
what first steps is. Remember, there's people.
Hold on, time out.
No,
I will. I'm getting there. I'm backing up. I'm doing stories my way. Just don't worry about it. You just sit there and look pretty. We brought him home from the hospital. He was in the NICU for a while. He had to be on morphine to withdraw. He was born exposed to a lot of things. So, file that away.
He was born drug addicted.
Exposed to substances. Yes. Jason. File all that away. You're expecting there to be some kind of delay down the road at some point, but you don't know when it's going to pop up, right? So we adopted him, and at that point, he didn't have any needs. Like, he was great. He was doing well. We adopted him at 2. His language was slow, but he was also 2-year-old, right? And sometimes your doctor will tell you, like, boys take longer to talk, blah, blah, blah. Lo and behold, less than a year later, he's diagnosed with level 2 autism. And I don't know if it was due to his drug exposure, but I suspect it absolutely played a part.
Probably played a role.
Yeah. But so, even stuff like that, like stuff can surface later, especially with infants.
Yeah.
Like, you don't know. You don't know what the future looks like.
I mean, we have I forget who along our path, very similar story to Brayden, not the autism part, but born, what's the proper terminology? So I'd say it correctly.
Born exposed.
Born exposed. They had a kid born exposed, adopted. Great. Became a teenager.
This is a football player story.
Tried a drug once, right? Like a lot of kids do. Tried it, but they had their neural pathways were already paved for addiction. Immediately became addicted.
Oh, well, our lawyer told us about a story. Maybe it's not the same one, or maybe you're just telling
Maybe
parts
I'm
of the story.
combining, yeah.
He was born exposed. They adopted him. He was great. He played football in high school, like very, well-adjusted teenager.
Yeah. This is a story.
He was adopted, and he suffered an injury in high school football, and he had to go on painkillers.
Oh, that's what it was.
And
okay.
being on painkillers opened up those neural pathways that were already created from being exposed in utero. And he ended up needing to go to inpatient rehab because of that.
That's the story,
And she was telling us that story as a reason to fight for your adopted child to have Medicaid as long as possible, because she said you'll never know when you have to use it.
Yep. That's the story I'm thinking of. Yeah. So
but that's true of biological kids too. Like
100%.
You don't know.
You don't know.
Right?
Remember, saying yes to a kiddo, you're also saying yes to a lot of unknown things, right?
Yeah, you are.
God is forcing you to be in faith and just take that next step. Don't know the whole path. Don't know the whole journey. Just take that next step.
Yeah.
So some misconceptions about medically fragile kid. Are you a nurse?
Me?
Yeah.
I mean, I am a certified home health aide.
Well,
but no, I'm not a nurse.
I'll be honest. The first time you get into this, it is going to be overwhelming.
It's terrifying. Yeah. Because you're like, whoa. You're thinking, you just brought in a kid that could play Barbie dolls with your daughter. And you're like, this is not what I pictured.
I mean, you think about, now my whole life is gone because I'm going to have medically focused on this kid because it's blah, 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 right? Yep. It's scary. Not a nurse. I don't know what to do. What happens if this? What happens with that? Yep. It's like all normal scenarios for a normal kid, but now you're dumping gasoline on it because it's medically fragile. Everything feels heightened.
Yeah. But the truth is, you get trained. There are medical professionals to support you and teach you. You learn as you go. You build community around it. And you need to remember that you're never alone. I would venture to say, once you take in a medically fragile placement, you'll probably take in more, because at one point we had 2 different G tubes going in our house with 2 different. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
Like, oh my word!
One kid was hooked up over here and went. Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, ugh, like I no longer was making bottles for kids. I was just preparing bags of formula to go through the G tube. But
I had never heard of an NG tube or a G tube or any of that until we accepted.
It was all brand new to you.
Until we said yes to one of these kids. And
yeah, I mean, I think I'd just like seen kids with the tape and the
I don't know if I'd
wire
ever seen,
thing on their nose, the tubing on their face, but never knew what it was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
but you get trained. You get supported. You're okay. As long as you and your spouse are a team and you have the support you need, you'll be okay.
I'm not going to lie. When we moved from an NG tube to the G tube, that was a happy day. Well,
we were so nervous about it. Yes. It was a big decision.
So if you're new to this, an NG tube is, I don't know what the nasal G tube.
Nose
it's a tiny,
tube.
It's a little tiny tube that you go up, like I said, through your nasal passages, down your throat, into your belly. It's great for super young babies. Or older kids that can control themselves.
I mean, or adults, yeah.
Yeah. However, for a young baby or a toddler, it's awful.
Ew, that's like the worst.
So we had other people, again, the importance community, we had people around us that had walked this walk ahead of us and that we were able to confide in and talk to and, tell us. And they said, hey, get a G tube. I'm like, well, what's a G tube?
Yeah.
It's a surgery where you get a little tube inserted into their belly. So
there's a direct pathway.
Direct pathway into the belly. I was like, oh, that sounds awful. No. They're like, they kind of like, oh, bless your heart. Like, no. Like, you want to do this. So Whit and I talked about it, and the doctors also agreed that would be.
So basically, at first, she got the NG because they weren't sure what was causing her silent aspiration and how long it would go.
NG is more of a temporary thing.
Yes.
A G tube is more of a permanent thing.
Yeah.
So at sorry, one of our babies upstairs is just yelled for me. She's just rioting in the morning because that's what she does. At 4 months, Leah got the G tube placed.
4 or 5 months, yeah.
And she's now 7, almost 8, and she still has it. So you could say it was permanent.
It was a good decision.
Yeah, but then, I mean, also for her G tube thing.
That wasn't a cakewalk.
No. We got it like, okay, good. And then while they were in there, they discovered some other internal things that were going on. And what was supposed to be like a one-night stay turned into, was that a week or 2 weeker?
It was a week. But again, we discovered then that her body cannot handle morphine. Similar situation to that young man's story. Her body started going through withdrawal and shutting down because they had given her pain medicine following her surgery. So we discovered then, and I didn't put 2 and 2 together until another surgery she had that following November when we were in the hospital for 3 weeks because her body shut down. So yeah, it's scary stuff.
Yeah, and her G tube leaked like around it, and the doctors all were like, "Well, we don't know why it's doing it." It's like, why is it leaking?
Send in like a medical student, like to look, and he's like, "Well, I don't know."
Like Riley, we love Riley. It's been a blessing.
It's also a teaching.
It's
hospital.
a teaching school, and every one of these students, God bless them, they come in and they think they're Doogie Howser, and they're going to ask.
And you want them to have answers,
and they're going to ask the one question that solves the riddle. But the same question they all ask the same question. And by the time you're at the 5th student asking the same question, you're like, look, bro, check the chart.
I remember one dude came in and I think he wanted to flush her G tube, but he didn't know how to.
So, it's a doctor.
Like I had to show him. I was like, oh, for the love.
That's why they have their nurses.
Yes. That's why nurses are amazing.
All right. So we're going to paint a picture of what some of the medically fragile life looks like. So when you have a kid in care and they're on meds, you have to document really, really closely what meds they take. So we created a Google Doc because we have had one kid that took up to 5 meds a day, 6 meds a day.
More than that. There was, she probably has
6 different meds.
She was probably prescribed close to 10, but some of them were as needed.
Yep. So we had a little Google Doc. We put it on a clipboard inside our cabinet. And whenever we would give her some, we would mark it off and initial it and exit off. And that was life for a couple of years.
Yeah. Yeah. And then you have specialist appointments. You have, your regular pediatrician.
Let's see if we can name all the different doctors we've been through with all our different kids.
Oh, boy. Okay, go. I'll fill in your gaps.
Pediatrician, developmental pediatrician, neurology, pulmonology, GI. I don't know the ology. Gastrointestinology.
Yeah, there you go.
Is that really it? I don't think that's it. That is not it.
No. I mean, gosh, there's been speech therapy, feeding
So I'm just trying to name the doctors.
therapy,
I was going through the doctors to start with.
Special eye doctor.
Oh, yeah.
I forget what that's called.
Yep.
Ophthalmologist. No, I don't know.
We've seen an optometrist, ophthalmologist,
yeah,
obstetrician.
Neuropsychology.
Never mind. Wrong doctor. All the doctors.
Yeah.
And then different therapies like eye, physical,
Hematology.
Hematology. Oh yeah, we forgot that one. That's a big one.
You forgot a lot actually.
Yeah, clearly. Yes.
Yeah.
So we've been to all the doctors, all the therapists. You work with First Steps, which is early intervention in Indiana. This is a program where medical equipment, right? So we had
medical equipment companies. Like that's one of the things I've always dealt with. Like if I were to die, I don't know that even now, I don't know that Jason would know how to fulfill our monthly orders.
No. When Leah was on her G tube, we originally did what's called a bolus. It's just a little tube that you hold up in the air and gravity fed her in the stomach. Like it would take an hour
so long
to feed her 100 milliliters of formula. Like that's not a ton.
She would be like an hour on, an hour off. It was
then
awful.
she would get mad and puke it all over. It was so depressing. Like
to clean up and start all over. So good.
Oh.
I don't miss those days.
So as she got bigger and healthier, we moved to a pump, and that was a lot better. Where you would just hook her up and hit the pump go, and it would
go.
Yeah, that was way better. We had specialty wheelchairs for the young guy you were describing before,
and he had like a stander. Like he had all the stuff. Remember that stander that he
had? The bath shower stand thing.
Yes, but I'm talking about.
I know what you're talking about. Yeah,
like to help his body stretch out. There was essentially a wheelchair, but to help them stand.
Yep.
I don't know how else to explain it.
Yeah,
but yeah,
caseworkers,
all the things. Yeah.
So we just share that all to say, like, it can sound really overwhelming. If you've never done that, listening to us just rattle all that off, you're probably like, oh my gosh, no. But
IEP meetings.
You figure out your routine. I shared this in one of our prior episodes when I spoke on that panel for that conference. The girl next to me said, one of the questions, like, how do you balance everything? And she said, you don't balance, you juggle. And when you juggle, you have glass balls and you have rubber balls. You cannot drop the glass ones because they break. If you drop the rubber ones, what do? They just bounce right back to you. And in this world, medically fragile, you figure out what's glass, what's rubber real quick.
Yeah.
And it's important to know the difference because, you're not going to get everything. You're going to miss. You're going to drop the ball on some stuff. Drop a rubber one. Don't drop a glass one.
I mean, we had one of our placements had sickle cell disease. And with sickle cell disease, there are a lot of glass balls, like temperature. If that child were to get a fever of 101, which isn't that high, but a fever of 101 meant immediate hospitalization. Like we had to take her to the hospital. Long story
reason why is because with sickle cell, it could a fever could mean different things, and they could be very dangerous very quick.
Yes, and the hospital blood work labs need to rule out if it's a viral thing or if it's a sickle crisis.
One time I remember we had to take her up. The whole house had been sick. Everybody had been sick.
Yes.
And she popped in. We're like, we know it's this because every other human in this house has
Leah had
this.
Just been at the hospital and diagnosed with pneumonia.
Yep.
Yeah, we were like, we know. And it was like 2 weeks later. But she had to be admitted for a couple days. Yeah. And then it came back that it was pneumonia.
Yeah. It was exactly what but we still had to be careful.
Yes. Like there are still glass balls that you cannot drop.
What do you think were some of the hardest mental things with having kids with medical stuff? For me, it was like, we're going to screw this up.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not equipped to handle this.
So I was up for the challenge. I don't know if I've ever felt I would screw it up.
You were more like, hey, okay, let's do this. And I was like,
I think navigating the everyday ins and outs, the organization, the phone calls, the advocacy.
When you have a medical kid, it's a lot extra when you have a medical
our child with sickle cell, she had 3 different pharmacies for her 10 different medications. Yeah. So to make sure we had stock like that, I was getting the refills as needed. Yep. And I don't know if y'all tried refilling medication at pharmacies lately, but it's not a smooth process. And then, this one has to get, prior authorization and all that stuff. And then
her Medicaid changed from the state. So you have to get
they just randomly change the doctor. Coordinating that. And then, there's the feeding supply companies. So coordinating that. If you don't know, this is a fun fact. Also annoying to deal with, but it's a fun fact. If a child is over 3 years old and not toilet trained, they are considered incontinent. And if they have Medicaid, well, maybe other insurances too, Medicaid will cover incontinence supplies. So you can actually get...
That's code for diapers.
Diapers for free. for children over 3 who still need them. So that is something that I constantly deal with because we have 3.5 children in diapers and 2 of them are over the age of 3. So, but coordinating that and then coordinating, God forbid, you want to change diapers to pull-ups because you actually want to try potty training. That took me like 5 months to do. I'm like, just send me the pull-ups.
I just want pull-ups.
All that I think is the most exhausting part. It's not necessarily hard, but it is time consuming and exhausting.
It's another system you have to learn how to navigate.
And I hate, one of my biggest pet peeves is when I feel like people don't do their job. And I'm like, if this is your job, do your job. Like I'm doing my part, do yours. So
any other overwhelming or nervous parts of being a medically fragile parent?
I think just like, watching kids struggle.
Yeah.
Watching that.
I mean, it was so hard when Leo was a baby where we would invest an hour and 10 minutes feeding her. Yeah. Sitting on a couch away from the other kids, focused on her.
You were stuck feeding her.
And then you'd get done, you'd flush her. So a flush is you fill up this little plunger with water and put it through the tube. Yeah. And then she would get mad and just puke up the whole.
Like exorcism,
it was so morally, not morally, emotionally, like you were just like, I just did all that for nothing.
Yeah. And then you have to do it
That
again.
was so hard.
Yeah. And it stank and it made a mess.
I didn't care about that. I don't have a sense of smell. So it was just so demoralizing to have all that work. And then like, I remember like we'd get done with her and she would start to get upset. You're like, no, don't get upset. Yeah.
I think the advocacy for me, and I talked about like the prescriptions and all that stuff, but then even the advocacy, you're doing all this stuff, like take Leah, for example, and getting her in a good routine and a feeding schedule. And this is what works. This is what doesn't work. And then you send them off with a random person for a visit. And she actually had a nursing visit supervisor. So someone who could train mom on the G-tube and all that stuff. Yep. But you're just sending them away with all of these supplies and trusting.
And a routine you've worked so hard to try to build.
Yeah, there's just a lot there, right? So,
So the good parts. So if you met Leah now, you'd have no idea that she had those struggles when she was
a fighter.
Until she shows you her extra belly button, her G-tube that's still there.
She's proud.
She thinks it's cool.
Yeah.
Which is kind of sucks because we're trying to get her to like drink her water so we can remove it. But she thinks it's cool. It's also kind of nice when they're sick. Instead of forcing your kid to drink water or Gatorade, we could just push it in their belly.
And honestly, she has transitioned from needing complete nutrition through this G-tube. Now we still use it, but we only use it for hydration. Yeah. She cannot drink normal liquids. They have to be really thick. And that's kind of gross to have to drink thickened water. Yeah. I mean, ew. So until we can thin out those liquids safely, we rely on hydration for her G-tube.
And only sporadically.
So watching her be able to eat food and not choke, she's come a long way.
Oh, so far. She's full, if you've ever met Leah, she's a ball of muscle. Like if you've met her, she's just one big ball of muscle. She's in gymnastics, doing really well at school.
Yeah. And our kiddo who had sickle cell came to us really, really sick. And seeing that progress was beautiful. Like her health improved. And data doesn't lie. You could see the data from her lab work. Every time she was in our care and her medication was managed the right way, the data showed it.
Yeah.
And she was healthy and thriving. And seeing that, like seeing the impact that you can make on children by meeting their needs where they're at, whether it's medical, whatever, that's enough motivation for me. Like seeing that progress within them.
Yeah. I mean, also another kind of side part of this medical is learning some of just being connected to a world that you may not ever be a part of, like the medically fragile. Like, what's the swallow study? Yeah. I didn't know. I would not have known that and been able to empathize with people who are going through that. So swallow study is basically you give your kid, they mix up a concoction of liquid and barium.
Yeah. Well, no, they drink barium.
That's what I meant. Like they liquid and barium, they drink it.
Yeah.
So that while they're drinking it, they take an X-ray. You can see the.
It's like a live X-ray. Like it's like a live image. It's not just like a screenshot.
Yeah, it's like a video X-ray. It's really cool to see.
It is really cool.
And like you can see their little throat and stuff, and
the droplets and where it's going, if it's going down the right pipe, essentially. Yeah, it's really cool.
I mean, what else? What other things? Just side medical, like learning about sickle cell. I would never learn about sickle cell and all the risks and stuff with that. If not for that,
it gives
one
you
kiddo.
an appreciation for all of the specialists at a children's hospital.
Yeah,
too.
that's a
like
good
all the
perspective.
areas that they're like. Honestly, it gives you an appreciation for having healthy children too.
Yes,
like,
it does.
Every time we've spent in the children's hospital, whether for a long hospitalization or just an appointment, it gives me a lot of appreciation and gratitude for healthy children.
I mean, a couple times our sickle cell kiddo had to be hospitalized, and she would be on the hematology floor. Guess what? Other kids are on that floor.
Yeah,
kids with leukemia.
Yeah.
And you'd see them walking around, and it just crushes your heart, and it makes you, like you said,
the hardest thing is seeing kids that don't have anyone.
Yeah. Yeah, you'd be shocked at how many kids are sitting up there.
And some of it is just family circumstances,
Yeah,
right? You
your
have
mom
a single parent
have to
household.
work. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But some kids literally never have anyone.
Yeah. What other medical things have we learned that we wouldn't have learned otherwise? Like you said, all the specialists, all the different supports available, like resources available. I'm not saying they're easy to access, but there are some resources available for people who have medically fragile kids.
Yeah, absolutely.
We met some friends along the way we wouldn't have met without like that connection. Just like foster parents immediately connect when you like
when you step into that other area of medically fragile.
Yeah, there's different like
we had a whole different like group of respite providers on hand for Leah with her.
It's different.
Tubes.
Like all foster parents all immediately bond, and then if you're a medically fragile foster parent, you bond with them.
Another unique little sect.
There's also another sect of foster parents, multiracial families. They all bond, right? Like
they get you, right?
So, yeah. What else should we talk about?
Let's do some advice for people considering fostering a child with medical info.
Yeah. So I would first say don't feel obligated to say yes to every single placement you get.
Yeah. Ask questions.
Don't feel guilty if you need to say no.
So the first time we took this child with sickle cell, this child was with us a couple times. The first time we took this child with sickle cell, we still had Leah on a feeding tube. Leah was 2.
Yeah.
And I spoke with the hospital social worker because this child was coming to us on a feeding tube also. And this child had an NG tube. This child had been on life support due to a crisis. And
explain what a crisis is in sickle cell. Just like when you
basically your organs are shutting down.
So real quick crash course for sickle cell. Your red blood cells aren't shaped the way they're supposed to.
They sickle,
right? That moon shape. And that they clog up your blood vessels and can cause strokes and
reduce blood flow to important areas.
Yeah. And that's what a crisis is.
Yeah. Which can be very, very, very serious.
It can be deadly.
Yeah.
It can be fatal.
Yeah. So she was coming to us following a really serious crisis and had a stroke and made a lot of back steps in development. So kind of like had to relearn how to do certain things. So, we had a 2-year-old with a feeding tube, right? So before saying yes, I spoke with the hospital social worker and asked all the questions because DCS only could tell me so much, right? So I was like, I need to speak with someone. Like I couldn't, the placement line couldn't answer my question.
Well, they're medical, that even if they knew the answer, they might not be able to answer them well because they don't know.
Right. So I needed to speak to someone in the hospital who has been with her that could tell me the things that I needed to know to be able to make a educated decision if we could do it, if we could say yes to her and truly help her and take care of her. And I'm glad we did.
Yeah.
But
absolutely.
Yeah.
So, and if you're really start with a respite weekend for somebody with a medically fragile baby, if you're considering, I think all of our friends that have become medically fragile foster parents kind of happened accidentally. Like we shared our story. You didn't set out on the path to do it. But if you're somebody that's intentionally,
and there are some people who they're nurses.
They're unbelievable. The people that
they
choose
just
that
want
path.
to do it. Yeah.
Start if you're worried about it. If you're a nurse, you're fearless. You probably don't need to start with respite.
Yeah.
But if you're,
you hear stories on the news of nurses who end up fostering to take medically fragile children out of the hospital to give them a home. Right.
Start with a respite weekend.
Yeah.
Just start small. Take a step. Right.
And I will say a lot of these medical needs come with access to resources.
Yep.
If a child, for example, if a child has a G tube, at least in the state of Indiana, I can't speak broader because I'm not sure. In the state of Indiana, a G tube automatically qualifies a child for in-home nursing services because that is considered a specialized medical service that's needed. Not to say not everyone wants an in-home nurse, but there are other conditions also, a lot of other things that can qualify, but there's help there. So even if you're, fostering and taking in a child with some pretty intense, a trach or, more intensive medical needs, there are, you don't have to do it alone. There are resources that you can access that you actually don't have to pay for, like in-home nursing services.
This is a thing with medically fragile kids. You need to understand. A lot of times foster parents, we feel like we're on an island. We need to do it all by ourselves. This is one where you absolutely 100% cannot. You need to connect to all of those available resources you have.
Yeah.
Meaning your community, find other foster parents that have walked this path, connect with people. You need to connect.
Yeah. Going through this journey honestly opened my eyes to how difficult it can be to advocate for medically fragile children and get them access to the things that they need. I remember saying to Jason at one point, thank God we have the resources and I have the knowledge to know how to do this and push for it. But there's so much red tape.
It's awful.
It's no wonder some of these biological parents
Get
who
overwhelmed.
have limited capacity, limited resources, limited availability, it's no wonder why they can't take care of their kids. They have no clue how to eat, where to even begin, and what you get to ask for, right? What you can do, what you legally should have.
Yeah, they don't volunteer necessarily. Hey, here's all the things available to you. You kind of have to go ask and prod and questions and all that. Here's the thing about being a medically fragile foster parent. You don't have to be special. Just be available.
I love it.
Just be available. Guess what? That should be a theme if you've listened to us. That's kind of the whole theme of foster care.
Yeah.
You don't have to be special. You don't have to be a superhero. You just need to be available.
And you don't have to be a perfect family, you guys.
No.
You need to be a present family.
Well, guess
you
what?
need to be willing to be that advocate for a child and possibly the child's family.
Yeah.
But God knows you don't need to be perfect because guess what? No one is.
No.
So don't just take that off your radar.
And as we've said before, you will never be ready. So you just have to take a step.
Just take a step.
That's what courage is. Taking action
That's
even
what
when you're
dreaming
scared.
small is all about. Just taking a step, right? Start small. Do something. So I don't know. I don't know where you're at if you're considering fostering, if you're considering respite care, if, maybe God's calling you to support a foster family or donate towards a foster family. Pray for a foster family. But man, there are so many areas of need. And we would love if you would share this episode so more people can understand medically fragile foster care and the needs that are within that. Until next time, you guys keep dreaming small.
Thank you for listening to the Dream Small podcast. If you're listening on Apple Podcasts, please tap that follow button and leave us a review. It helps other people find my mom and dad's show. If you're on Spotify, please give my parents a follow and a 5-star rating. And wherever you listen, don't forget to share the show with a friend who needs a little encouragement today. You can also follow us on social media to stay in the loop. Instagram at Dream Small Podcast, Facebook Dream Small Podcast, Twitter or X at Dream Small Show. Or email us anytime at dreamsmallpodcast@gmail.com. We love hearing from you. And remember, just dream small. See you next time.